everybody.
Hi. We're here today. We thought we'd talk about frequently asked questions.
Originally, Doug was going to just read off a bunch of answers to some questions from a piece of paper, but it just really sounded just boring.
Thanks. Thanks.
While I was listening to it. So I said, why don't we have a conversation about it instead of you just talking at the camera?
And I like talking better to her than the camera anyways.
Well,
so.
Thank you. I like talking to you too. So the first thing we want to remind everyone is if you are on any medications at all, for any reason, whether it's blood pressure or diabetes or heart medications, just let your doctor know you're changing your diet. It may affect your medication levels. You may need to have them adjusted. If you're on blood pressure medicine, this naturally lowers your blood pressure, so it may be going too low. So we don't want you feeling lightheaded or anything, so make sure you talk to your doctor. The other thing that we said we had to talk about, this is day 4. So good for all of you for making this far. This is usually the tough point for a lot of people. You may be feeling some discomfort in your stomach, some gas, maybe feeling tired. All of this is just due to the vast change in your diet. So if you were someone that was eating a lot of beans before and now you're just eating a little bit more greens than you did, you may not feel it. But if you were eating standard American diet and having sandwiches with burgers and chicken nuggets and French fries and are suddenly eating this way, your body's going to say, whoa, I got to adjust to this. And you're going to feel those adjustments. Hang in there. It does get better. The gas sometimes is embarrassing for people initially, but it gets improves. And also we always make a joke that that's how other plant-based people can find people in a crowd, is if you just listen for the gas.
But the thing is you're literally rewriting your gut biome right now. There are microbes that devour the fiber and build your immune system. And there's other microbes that feed on what you used to eat. Well, they're dying off because you're hopefully not eating as much of that. And now you're eating all these. So now there's microbial growth happening as well of the good bacteria, the good microbes in your gut. So that's what's happening. And typically about day 5, 6, for some people even 7, they start getting their energy back. They feel great, and it's just waiting for your body to right itself.
So we have included the stool chart in this newsletter, so you should be able to see where your stools fall in to make sure that you're normal. But it is quite normal to go to the bathroom a couple of times a day. It shouldn't be painful. It should be quick and efficient. Okay.
And don't worry if you're going 2 to 3 times a day.
I just said that.
I know, but some people may have only gone once before.
Some people were going once a week.
Yes, or once every couple of days.
Yeah, so
not good.
You should at least be going once a day. And if you're a little backed up still, give it some time. Just go slow. Stick with drinking a lot of water. Get some fluids in you, and things will get moving. So one of the big questions we get a lot is, why can't I have smoothies? Usually it's with a sad face and somebody pouting because they really like their smoothies. And there's nothing wrong with smoothies. It's a great way to get in nutrition. However, for the challenge, we are asking that you don't drink your calories. We want people to get used to what the right amount of food to eat is. And if you're drinking a smoothie, it doesn't fill up your stomach as much as the fiber would in all the contents of that smoothie. So what we suggest is, if you really like your smoothies, take all those ingredients, get a big bowl, put your 4 cups of spinach in it, or however much spinach you use, and put in your fruit and put in your milk and everything, and eat it with a fork or a spoon. And if you still are hungry after that, then have another one. But don't drink them, because you won't hit the satiety mark that you need to.
Because when you chewing is part of the digestion process, and you start breaking it down when you're chewing it. Well, the blender's doing that work for you. So you're missing out on a digestion step, basically, sort of shortcutting it. So we're changing habits. And if smoothies were habits for you every single day, let's try to change that up for the 10 days of the challenge.
And you can go back to smoothies when the 10 days are over if it's working for you. But if you have weight to lose, don't drink your calories. You have to learn on what the proper amount of food is to feel satiated, and drinking a smoothie isn't going to give you that.
But smoothies are good for those that may struggle with eating vegetables, like certain little people.
Well, kids definitely will give you a hard time about vegetables, and we know a lot of adults that say that they can't have certain green things on their plate. So if smoothies are the only way to get food in those people, then yes, use them. But most likely, their challenges are a lot more than just, eating plants at all. They probably need to eat some plants. So start small if you have to. If that's the only way, do it.
But that's a good tool. If you're trying to get your kids on board, try smoothies.
Hello, welcome to Pig and Salt. Have you guys been here before?
No, it's our first time.
Then I have a few things to explain to you. We do small plate, family-style tapas here, which means that all of our dishes are just tiny, bite-sized amounts of food meant to be shared among 8 people.
So everyone only gets a half bite of food?
No, someone will always eat more than their share.
Interesting. Now tell me, are your dishes composed of 5 discrete bites of food, like 5 scallops and a delicate tower of garnishes, for instance?
Yes, always 5 or some other prime number.
Even though they're meant to be shared.
That's right.
Now, how many dishes do you recommend for just the 2 of us?
Oh, it totally depends how hungry you are. Are you hungry?
Oh, yes, we're at dinner.
I see. Then I'd say 5 to 18 dishes, although this tiny table will only fit 3.
Sounds like a lot.
Oh, actually, most of our dishes are quite small. As you can see, the gnome supper is actually just a dewdrop served on an acorn.
Do you have anything?
What about portion sizes? Why am I not measuring out every little thing and counting my calories?
Well, eating a whole food plant-based diet relies on the plants having the calorie density and the nutrient density. So when you're looking at something like lettuce, that is low calorie density but high nutrient density. If you're looking at something like a piece of bacon, it's low nutrient density, high calorie density. So what we're trying to do in switching to a whole food plant-based diet is eat as much foods as you can that have high nutrient density, low calorie density. And I think actually there's a chart in this newsletter, and if there isn't, you're putting it in today.
That's right. And even with plant-based foods, there are some that are high calorically, but also high nutrient. So for instance, nuts, they are extremely high calorically. They're good for you. It's just you can't have a cupful every day. That's not beneficial to you. Especially
Too much fat. It's just too much fat in your diet.
Yeah.
So we don't need to control our portions because we want you to eat as much as necessary to feel full. If you are eating foods like vegetables and fruits and beans and grains and all whole plant foods, it's really hard to overeat. It's very easy to overeat if you are focusing on processed foods because they're empty calories. They're nutritionally empty but high in calories. So it's very easy to eat high 100 calories of garbage, and it would take a lot longer to eat 100 calories of oranges, let's say.
Right. For instance, a medium-sized baked potato is 150, 160 calories. But people typically, you would put butter on there, cheese on there, and sour cream, and that's what the problem is. That's where the calories come from, and that's what makes that not good. But if you just have a baked potato and
some mustard on it,
mustard or ketchup, or put some beans and mix it all together, you're totally fine. You can eat that all day if that appeals to you.
So don't count your calories, don't count your portion sizes. Eat what you need to feel comfortably full. If you're a foodaholic or addicted to foods, as a lot of us are, sometimes you don't have that off switch. So if you're focusing on, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat something that's a vegetable or a fruit, and I'm going to eat as much of it as I want, you don't have that feeling that you're not getting the ability to eat. You'll be able to eat as much as you want. So focus on the greens. Focus on greens, focus on fruits. Eat those as much as possible.
Like this is not a deprivation diet. If you're hungry, eat. As long as it's approved on the challenge, eat. That doesn't mean you can pull out a slice of bread, slather peanut butter on it, and eat it. But that does mean that, like for us, when we're doing the challenge, we have a bowl of steamed or baked potatoes. And if we get hungry in between meals, we take some of those out, dip them in ketchup or mustard, and that alleviates a lot of our hunger pain.
It also seems to satisfy a sweet tooth too for some reason, and I don't know why, because I have a sweet tooth.
And so do
And
I.
if I eat a potato, I don't really feel the need to go and look for a cookie or anything.
Right. So think of that. Eat the good stuff.
All right, next. What about my carbs?
What about carbs? Carbohydrates.
Carbs are my enemy.
Yeah.
Carbs are evil. All food, all plant food, and most foods have protein, carbohydrates, and fat in them in different proportions. So lettuce has protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Beans have protein, carbohydrate, and fat. So you do not have to focus on macronutrients when you're eating. Cows don't walk around in the field and say, I'm a little short on protein today. They just walk around and say, I need my grass. And it's the same thing with people. We don't need to focus on our macronutrients. We need to focus on healthy plant food. Carbohydrates are the fuel for your body. That's what your body runs on. Most of your food should be coming from carbohydrates. However, carbohydrates have gotten a bad reputation because everyone calls everything a carbohydrate that has any kind of flour in it, any kind of grain in it. It's a carb, it's a carb, it's a carb. Well, French fries are a carb, and so are potato chips, and so is a baked potato. All of those are made out of carbs, but it's how you eat them and how they're prepared, that's what matters. So don't be afraid of carbohydrates, eat them, just don't eat processed carbohydrates.
And processed carbs. There's food scientists in the industry that are making what they call hyper-palatable foods. These are foods that they have engineered to hit what they've called the bliss point. The bliss point being the point where the food tastes so good you want more. And they modify salt, fat, and sugar. So that's why we sort of say you really have to read labels if you're buying anything in a box, because typically there's one of those three things in them. And that's why we try to avoid processed foods. They're the bad carbs.
So get your carbs from eating your vegetables. Eat as many carbs as you want. Don't care about carbs or anything like that. So that brings us to the other one. It's the protein.
Protein!
Hey, I got you guys protein shake.
Awesome. I love protein.
I know you love protein. I love protein too.
Yeah, protein rocks.
Are you guys talking about protein? I love protein. I love protein too.
We know you love protein. Protein rocks.
Awesome. Protein rocks.
Protein.
Protein. Protein.
Protein.
Protein. Protein.
Should we tell them about this?
Absolutely not.
Protein, I need my gains.
For some reason, the industries have taught us that, have been telling us that we're short on protein. Do you know anyone that is short on protein? Do you know any hospital wings for protein deficiency, which is called kwashiorkor, I think that's how you pronounce it. There is no such thing, especially in a non-third world country, of protein deficiency. Protein is in all plant foods. Protein is just something that is a macronutrient that you need to function daily, but you don't need excess. Do you know the numbers of protein that you're supposed to have? Men are supposed to be with 56 and women 44?
46, but that's for sedentary. So you're saying, well, I'm not sedentary.
I work out.
I work out. I'm an athlete. Dr. Jim Loomis, who worked for the St. Louis teams as their medical doctor, we asked him that exact question. Well, if we exercise, don't we need more of this? And he goes, no, you just need to eat more calories. That's what you need. And if you're eating plant-based, you're getting a rounded plant-based diet. You're getting all the fat, protein, carbs that you need. And it's not really the protein. It's the amino acids that are the required amino acids. They are in all plant foods to some amount or others. Some have more of one, some have more of other, but they're all there. So all you need to do is eat more. I get half my daily protein requirements just by eating my morning breakfast. That's you don't need more. And the problem is if you eat too much.
Right. There's lots of wings in the hospital for diseases of protein excess. There's heart disease wings, there's the stroke wings, there's all these people are sick from having too much protein. If you know Dr. Campbell, Dr. T. Colin Campbell's work, the China study, he talks about protein. And basically you want to keep the amount of protein in your diet 10% of your intake. Less than 10%. They say 5 or 6% is enough, and it should come from plant sources. You will get plenty of protein if you just eat a wide variety of plants. Please do not worry about your protein.
And the problem is we have no storage capacity for protein in our bodies. We have unlimited storage capacity for fat. But for protein, what happens is our body takes whatever protein comes in, uses it to repair whatever it has to repair, and then the rest gets excreted. Guess how that happens? Through your kidneys. Now, if it's a constant day in, day out of you upping your protein, that's making your kidneys work overtime, and you're putting yourself at risk for kidney disease in the long term. That's something you don't want.
Just eat plants as much as you want to feel comfortably full. The big question that is always asked as well is what about oil? Coconut oil, olive oil,
avocado oil,
flaxseed oil, any kind of oil. We have come to learn, and it's something that we've been following. We haven't had oil in our diet in our house since 2014. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who wrote the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease book, he says that no oil is acceptable, 0. Oil is a highly processed food with the fiber removed, with all the healthy stuff removed, leaving only the unhealthy fats. It is highly concentrated. There is no nutrients that are in oil that you can't get from the original product itself. So if you want to use corn oil, eat some corn. If you want to use olive oil, eat some olives. Do not use oil to cook. It is a highly processed food that damages the endothelial lining of your arteries.
Which is the 1 cell layer thick lining of all your arteries. And when that gets damaged, that's where plaques appear. And when those plaques appear, and if they're not stabilized, if they don't heal themselves, they rupture. That's what causes blockages, that's what causes heart attacks, that's what causes strokes, all sorts of problems. So that's why oil is no good in our diet. Plus, calorically, it's 120 calories for a tablespoon of olive oil.
Most people are cooking and going like this in their pan.
We were guilty.
You go like this, and it has to coat the whole bottom so nothing sticks. And then you're eating that oil, and it has no nutritional value. So please stay away from the oil.
So you might be asking, well, how do you cook without oil then? I'm actually going to post, we have an old video, what's called dry saute, which explains how to cook without oil. And you can use water, you can use broth, you could use wine. Vermouth. Well, we were using vermouth for a long time, which is pretty fun.
That's just for sauteing. There's other replacements for oils in recipes.
Right.
Not for sauteing.
But that was just for sauteing. So we'll load that video up. If we think of any more frequently asked questions, we'll share them.
Or if you have any.
Yeah, send them in.
Just
we'll
email
answer
us, and maybe we'll do another video answering a bunch of frequently asked questions that come in.
Okay.
So eat plants and love without limits.
Thanks so much. Enjoy.
Bye.